If you hear any interesting noises through this video, there's a dragonfly right there that, despite the gigantic gaping open space right there, is trying to get out through that window. I don't know, I guess it's not smart enough to realize that it's a window. Anyway, that's not the point of this. The point of this is sitting over here, just beyond this stupid boat, which is absolutely in the way. This is something that I got from a viewer today in exchange for an Inspiron 530. It's not what it looks like on the surface. It only came up in passing, just because I mentioned that there was a case that I wanted to replace. But anyway, this was, at one point in time, an HP Media Center PC, model M7350n. It's still the Media Center PC case. You can see it's got the card reader. It's got the nice little space. I guess you put CDs there, I'm not really entirely sure. That was common on HP computers. Sometimes on the higher-end fancy machines they would have a dock for a camera. Maybe that's what that's for as well. It doesn't say PhotoSmart on it though, so I don't really think so. Right here, it says LightScribe DVD. It's probably exactly what it is. Yeah, it is LightScribe capable. I don't know if it's the original or not. Down here it says DVD-ROM, but I believe that's just empty because that's been removed. Here, this says Personal Media Drive Bay. I'm not really entirely sure what this would have been, but whatever it was, I don't have the rest of it. Might be something worth looking into. And then over here is the connectivity center. Ooh, fancy. You can see it's got television inputs. There's FireWire, headphone, microphone, and two USB 2.0 ports. I've always liked this particular design of HP case. A long time ago, if you remember, I think it was like 2015, 16, somewhere in there, I had a, what was that, like an A1320N or 1410N or something. I think it was a 1320 that was similar. It wasn't the Media Center, but it was a Pavilion with this same general case design. But that thing was dreadfully unreliable, and you couldn't run anything other than Windows XP on it. This was formerly an Intel Vive, or Vive, or something. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. But I believe what that meant is it had an Intel CPU, Intel chipset, and Intel Ethernet. Pretty similar to the notebook, the Centrino platform, which was Intel CPU, Intel chipset, and Intel wireless. Of course, it's designed for Windows XP, because why wouldn't it be designed for Windows XP? You can see it's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's also not exactly new either. There's product information. If we go ahead and try and move this, it's pretty heavy. I do have the cover screws undone, because I was looking at it. We have a power supply that I'd already know, but even if I didn't know, I could just look at this right here and I could tell you this is a Best Tech power supply, so that's going to be the first thing I change. Obviously that's not the original motherboard, because I'm pretty sure that HDMI was not a thing when the Intel Vive was a big deal. I do know the story, some of the story anyway, behind this machine. It's obviously missing two blanks. I guess there were expansion cards installed there, and there I think is the original television tuner. So, pretty nice to have. I'm going to have to find some slot blanks for that. I wonder if this fan in the back of the case is any good. I'm going to go ahead and move this somewhere so we can take a look at it. Okay, with the cover taken off, we can get a closer look at what we have. So it's a serial ATA optical drive. Again, I'm not sure if that was original or not. I kind of expect that it probably was not. Looks like, is that a hard drive? Okay, I think that is a hard drive down there. I'm not sure whose drive it is, but just based on the appearance, I'm going to guess that it's a Samsung. You can kind of see some more of it there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Samsung drive. So, if that's good, that's decent. This is obviously a much newer motherboard than what would have been in here. At least it looks like it would have been much newer. It's got PCI Express rather than AGP, and 4 SATA ports. It does look like it still has IDE, which is good. I think some of the pins are missing from the IDE, so that's not so good, but it is there. I'd imagine it probably has a floppy connector somewhere, or it might not, depending upon how new it really is. But you can see that this is clearly out of an Acer product of some kind, which even has a date, 2008, which I was completely oblivious to. Wonderful. So now we have an idea as to when this was made. Anyway, after that rude interruption, what was I talking about? Oh, I think I was complaining about this stupid baffle that I guess is supposed to direct airflow to the side of the case. But, like, that only really works if there's a hole in the side of the case for it to direct airflow to. So, I don't know. I don't know how that comes off. I might have to figure out how that comes off. Or I might just Dremel it off. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. If I leave this motherboard in here, I'll probably just leave it alone. But if I pull the board out, which I probably am going to end up doing for reasons we'll explore here in a second, I'm going to take that off because it looks ridiculous, it doesn't work, and they're stupid. So, anyway, what else is worth noting here? I don't know who makes this TV capture card, but I believe it's a Hoppage card. WinTV PVR 150, it looks like that says. So I've got one. I actually do have one of these, and it's an immense piece of junk. So I don't know. This is supposed to plug into it somehow or another. I guess just like this. If I can actually do it with one hand, which is proving to be difficult. Here we go. That goes in there, and that connects to all the front panel stuff, which I believe is hooked up. There are connection points for everything on the front panel on this, which is actually really nice. Hopefully, if I do replace this board, whatever board I choose, will have enough, or will have the right connections for that. I can't envision it won't. But what I was told is that this thing is intermittent. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it will not. And I'm not entirely sure what that means. It could be faulty memory. It could be bad memory slots. It could be a motherboard level problem. It could be this stupid Bestech power supply right here. Or it could be any number of other things. But I guess the prudent thing to do would be to hook it up and see if it does anything at all. And see what works and what does not. One thing that I'm sure everybody noticed before I did, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that it had legacy I/O in the form of PS2 ports. So that makes legacy peripherals not a problem at all, even if I think this keyboard's a piece of crap. But we'll see if this thing explodes in my face, or if it does something useful. Okay, power is on. I hear a whining. There's a green light. The whining is not usually a good sign, but fire it up. We'll see what happens. Acer. Delete to enter setup. Don't mind if I do. Okay. American Megatrends. Product information. What have we got? Well, now we know what this came out of. An Aspire M7350n. Somehow or another I recognize that model number. I think I might have had the motherboard out of one of those at one point. In fact, I think I still have the case, because I know I've got an Acer Aspire case that I'm using for a server right now, but I don't know. Standard CMOS features, what do we have? Looks like that's all correct. It's only got 768 megabytes of memory for some reason. That's odd. The SATA drives are reversed for some reason. And floppy A is set to something. I can't change it, so whatever. Okay, let's take a look. So it's set to boot to the optical drive first, then the network, and then the hard drive for whatever reason. I don't think I see anything else in there that I'm going to touch. I'm going to leave it alone. So there's some chipset information, 256. Yeah, it's probably got 1 gig of memory, and the rest of it's being used for the 768 system, and the 256 is being used for the video. PC health status. Let's see, anything interesting? The CPU is colder than the motherboard temperature for whatever reason, but everything seems fine there. It doesn't tell me what the CPU is, though, which I think is kind of interesting, unless I just missed it, which I don't think I did. So that's kind of interesting. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit save and exit. We'll see if it'll work. We'll see what the hard drive is on the hard drive. I may need to stop the video depending upon what this does. So there's your NVIDIA boot agent. Did I just lock up? Oh no, there we go. Media test failure. Well, of course, there's no Ethernet cable plugged in. Should have changed the boot order while I was in there. Could be erased, I don't actually know. Okay, this is crazy. Okay, now it locked up. Or not. I'm gonna go into setup, I'm gonna change that, because that's silly. And I don't think there's anything on that hard drive. So, nothing for me to peruse and explore, so I still don't even know what CPU this machine has. Let me go get my, let me go get a bootable Linux USB stick. And we'll see if this will boot something at all. Alright. Forgot to get a mouse, dang it. Well, I did get it to boot off of the USB stick. And then it locked up. And now it will not boot at all. I'm wondering if there is actually a memory issue, because I did touch the memory module. Because I noticed some graphical issues, so I wiggled the memory module and that's when it locked up. Well, I tried. Pulled the RAM out, changed it, changed the slot it was plugged into. Still doesn't want to post, so I don't know what's up with that. There's got to be some other issue somewhere. So, I think I'm going to pull some other components, but I'm going to do that later. I think I'm computered out for one day. And I've got other things that I really should be working on right now anyway, so that's it for this. Thank you for watching. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them down below, and look out for some future videos revolving around this machine.